I'll use any excuse to come here. So the difficulty for me is often more scheduling than anything else. But no, my interest to come here to Japan was, you know, we had an unbelievable amount of support for 24 here. And in the United States, it took about a year for 24 to kind of get off the ground, to find an audience. Whereas here in Japan or in England, we found an audience almost immediately. And it was one of the reasons we were allowed to continue making 24, because it made people back in the States have faith that the show was going to take off. For that, I've been eternally grateful, and I am. But I think that I'm very proud of this show, and I think the show has some very interesting, dramatic, and emotional qualities to it that I don't find in anything else. And so I will always try and take the opportunity to encourage people to try it out, to try and watch it, and hopefully that they will enjoy it. Again, there's an international quality to this show because so many of the storylines are from around the world. It's interesting for me to be able to go to the different countries where the storylines are taking place and get a sense what an audience here is going to react to and what they're going to like and not like. All of that information helps me or informs me about what I would like to do with the show as well. So for those reasons, it was very simple for me to decide to want to come here. I've done 2 television shows, Touch and 24. I've made over 100 films. In my experience, there is no difference at all, except for maybe the pace or the speed with which we will work in television. When we were doing 24, we would make the equivalent of 12 films in the course of a year. I've certainly never made 12 films in 1 year. But that really is the only difference. How I approach developing a character is exactly the same for a film and television. We work with the same cameras in television, and the crew does the same things. So really, outside of the speed with which we work, they're exactly the same to me. Season 2 is actually very, very different. And I'll explain Season 1 a little bit. Season 1 begins with a father who is questioning his ability to take care of his son because his son is diagnosed with very severe autism. He doesn't speak. He can't touch his son. And so he's questioning giving his son up to allow the board and care facility or the people responsible for health care for children to take care of him. He realizes he's made a mistake, and he starts to make very small breakthroughs in his ability to communicate with his son during the first season. One of the breakthroughs that he makes is he starts to realize that apparently the random sequencing of numbers is not as random as he thought. It's very specific. And he starts to realize that his son has an understanding of quantum physics and mathematics that is beyond anybody else on the planet. As he understands that, and as they start to become closer, and his son keeps putting him in different situations to try and make the world a better place, he starts to realize that there are certain people that want his son because of his mind, because of how valuable it is. Some of it is, some people want it because they want to apply it to the military. Some people want the information his son can provide for business, for other aspects, algorithms, financial algorithms. And so season 2 is really, at the end of season 1, he has to steal his child back, his son back, and they have to go on the run. So it becomes, the second season is much more aggressive, and these people will stop at nothing to take his son from him. And so it is, there's much more action, if you will. But the main point of this show is really the emotional dynamic and connection between this father and his son, and that will stay true from season 1 to season 2. But season 2, just by nature of the story, it is a little faster, and the consequences become larger. They become life and death.